Hey, what's up? This is Angel Delight here. A couple of people now have requested a video all about Scarlxrd. Scarlxrd. His name is Scarlxrd. He used to be one of those YouTube vlogger types. He sacked the whole thing off, changed his style, changed his identity even, and now makes music under this new kind of alias. Very kind of heavily distorted, very aggressive, kind of XXX Tentacion kind of style. Let's face it, it's all pretty edgy stuff, and that's part of the reason why this guy has such a cult following. But the other part, which is much more important for the purposes of this video, is this guy's style post-reinvention. I'm going to take a quick head-to-toe look at this guy and then go for a more kind of thematic overview, all while answering the question, is there any relationship between this guy and Techwear? Because that's kind of the context that I've heard him be recommended to me in, and is there anything kind of inspiration-wise we can learn from this person? And, you know, personally, is there anything that I like about this guy's style? So let's have a look at some specifics here and start with the head. His kind of trademark thing is that he always wears a mask. Presumably this is to kind of distance himself from his former YouTube persona. This is a very easy one because you can pretty much pick up these black surgical masks almost anywhere. Places like Amazon, for example, tend to have them, and they do them in big multi-packs, so the idea being that you buy them, wear them once, and then chuck them away. You can get a bit more heavy-duty ones as well, but they're often not too expensive. He does actually have his own merch store, so if you really want a Scarlxrd branded one, or one with some kind of kanji text written across it for those extra Japanesey vibes, then you always have that option. Sometimes he messes about with some other things. He might have a bandana on, or like a pair of sort of novelty goggles almost, but generally the mask is pretty much what he goes for. The top half is where there starts being a little bit more variety. One thing that I did want to pick out, because he does wear quite a few different things, is a kind of tactical vest, which he seems to wear quite a few different variations of. These things have a little bit of functionality in that they have some pockets and stuff going on, but they do contribute to that techwear, or perhaps more accurately a kind of military or dystopian kind of aesthetic. Again, these sorts of things are not necessarily that difficult to pick up. Amazon, I think, do have these kind of military combat vests you can pick up. There are plenty of military surplus stores out there where you can find kind of black combat vests in all kinds of different sort of weights and amounts of pockets and things, and there are slightly more fashiony examples as well. There's one from Antwon, which is a Japanese brand, which is a lot more delicate looking, which I really like, and you could look back as well to the Nike AAE collection, which was a little bit of a sort of mixed reviewed collection, but they also did a sort of tactical vest, but one that's a bit more stripped down. Military and dystopian vibes are sometimes a theme here. You'll have camo jackets worn quite often, bomber jackets as well, but often kind of more normal stuff, like windbreakers from mainstream sports brands, or like North Face jackets and that kind of thing. The stuff which really works more with that military dystopian kind of feel, like you could try brands like MXDVS, things like Alpha Motif as well, where they may not produce techwear clothes, but they do have some kind of edgy vibes going on, and kind of make reference to that kind of dystopian or military sort of culture. And those sorts of things I think would fit pretty nicely with the kind of looks that Scarlxrd is putting out. Now, you might already be thinking that some of the looks that this guy is putting out, and the things that I've mentioned already, are a little bit excessive. You don't really need to go around wearing a big tactical vest. Well, if you think that this stuff is over the top, then the bottom half of the pants are where Mr. Lord really takes things to the next level. Everything is about excess, so when there's straps involved, you can bet that they're going to be pretty much all over the trousers in ways that are not really even functional. If there's rips, like ripped jeans he seems to wear quite a lot, you can bet that there's going to be rips going from all the way to the top to all the way down. Stuff like chains as well. Yep, he's not only wearing one, but he's wrapped it around his legs. Now, no real performance brand is going to make pants that are quite like the sorts of things that this guy is wearing. But if you have a look on places like Taobao, have a look at those Chinese techwear brands, what you'll find that they tend to do is take that techwear aesthetic and kind of push it to the nth degree. So in the same way that he wears things where there's loads of straps and stuff, these Taobao brands, they will kind of do the same thing, and they will put loads of pockets and loads of straps on their cargos. And if you want to go all out, grab yourself some bungee cord on eBay, wrap it around your leg, jobs are good. It might not be that great technical performance wise unless you plan on doing some abseiling down buildings, but for copying Scarlxrd's look, that'll do the job. And if you want a slightly more sober version of this one, then honestly Gorilla Group is a name that probably a lot of you will be familiar with already, but those guys are definitely ones to give a try because they do often use kind of loads of pockets on their stuff, but in a way where you are actually hopefully getting decent quality stuff as well. And their most recent pants at least are DWR treated, so there's a little bit of actual performance there too. Sneakers really are probably the least outrageous thing in this guy's outfit. Generally he'll just wear things from big sportswear brands, Nike and Adidas for example, and things which are mostly black, surprise surprise, and silhouettes that have a little bit of bulk to them but nothing too crazy or over the top. Things like Air Max 95s, Nike tuned Airs. I've seen him wear some Adidas things as well, but I can't think exactly what they are. Basically he just seems pretty happy wearing your average UK roadman crep. So we've been through the kind of stuff that this guy likes to wear, and on a surface level, if you take an initial look at him, or perhaps to the untrained eye, you'll think, hey, you know, this guy's got loads of pockets and he only wears black stuff and he's got a face mask on. That must mean it's Techwear, right? Well, as we've kind of seen, that's perhaps not really the case. His links with Techwear are very surface level. If you're drawing the comparisons between Scarlxrd and Techwear outfits, you're really looking only at things like pockets, zips, straps, without really looking at what kind of performance those things represent or what kind of materials are being used. And that kind of combination of those two features, the look and the actual functionality that those things give, really to me are where that Techwear look is kind of born and where it thrives. So Scarlxrd kind of has one of those sides, kind of down in some ways, but then the performance perhaps not so much. Yes, he's no stranger to wearing outerwear pieces, that much is true, and the face mask you could say is kind of a hallmark of Techwear, just in that people do seem to like covering their faces. And I don't think many people really feel like the outerwear pieces that he does wear, like these Nike windbreakers or North Face jackets, are really the cutting edge of Techwear. And those other points, or those other features rather, which borrow from Techwear, he will either take the aesthetic parts and not really bring the performance parts along too, or when he does use those performance parts like straps for example, he will then take that to the extreme in such a way where the performance that they bring is then no longer really relevant. However, there are some things which Scarlxrd does which, when looked at through a Techwear lens, do have some value. For example, as I mentioned earlier, the kind of tactical vest or the military vest that he wears. That's something where functionality is clearly key because you're giving what you're already wearing some additional technical properties in the form of that carrying capacity, and it's something that you don't really see that much on a lot of Techwear outfits. I guess that's mainly because the focus is so much on that jacket, and often it's the jacket that will have all the different pockets and detailing. But an idea that could be played with is to use a plainer jacket or windbreaker and then opting for a utility vest on top of that to give it some visual interest and some carrying capacity and to help bring out that Techwear aesthetic. Or alternatively, to wear alongside something a little bit lighter so that you still have storage capacity outside of those winter months when things are a little bit warmer. As he does actually, often you'll see him wear like a hoodie or a long sleeve t-shirt or something along with one of those tactical vests. And to give Mr. Lord some credit, what he does do is borrow from Techwear a little bit of military stuff, dystopian kind of style, some normal streetwear stuff as well, and then use that to create an aesthetic where there's quite a lot of potential variations within it. And that both gives him his own style and an area which he can experiment in quite a lot. Now personally there are quite a few things within that aesthetic which I don't really get along with, like the ripped jeans and the chains for example. I'm not really about that sort of thing, but the fact of the matter is he is presenting this quite strong aesthetic, and that's something which a lot of people, myself included, I think struggle to find basically their own kind of personal style or identity. And if you do rein in some of these styles that he presents a little bit and then bring that a little bit more back to the kind of performance direction, what you end up with is a kind of dystopian take on Techwear, which I think is quite cool and definitely worth exploring. And there you might also find some looks which blend some elements of Techwear performance with some elements of traditional streetwear or kind of this dystopian fashion. You know, stuff like Cavempt or MXDVS or Alpha Motif, as I've already mentioned earlier. Those kinds of brands combined with like a technical pant or like some cool shoes or something, I think together could make quite a cool look without really going as far or to the extent that Scarlxrd does. So certainly an interesting character, whether you do like him as an artist or you do or don't like the aesthetic he puts out. Perhaps if you are kind of a fan of this stuff, there are some elements from that I've kind of picked out that you could then borrow and use to inform your own style. Or you could go totally in the opposite direction. The choice is yours. Anyways, do let me know what you guys thought of this video. I appreciate I've not really done this sort of thing before, so if you want me to do more stuff like this, or maybe you think I should sack it off and just not bother ever again, then let me know down in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, then do give it a little thumbs up, and that is everything. So thank you so much for watching. I will be back next week with hopefully a backpack review, I think. So stay tuned for that one, and I will catch you in the next video. Shout out to Unlimited Blade Works, IKEA boys, we out here with the new setup. Where's my sponsorship? And shout out to Dick McRogers. Yeah, I did buy those Uniqlo Eu Cargos, and they were out of stock in every size except large, so I thought they might be too big, but I'll give them a go, and they were way too big, so I can't review those because they looked awful, to tell the truth. But if I find a pair in medium, then I definitely will consider it, because they do look pretty cool, and I've seen some cool looks out there with them already. If you enjoyed the video and you want to catch some more, then there'll be some little squares up there, and if you made it to the end of this video, but you haven't subscribed already, then you could consider doing that and click that little button over there, and then you'll be subscribed and you can catch some new stuff when that comes out.